On today's episode of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I will be talking about 2019 film Avane Srimannarayana. The thing that works best for this film is the world that it sets up. From the opening moments until the closing credits, it's laden with references, whether it's other westerns, Italian spaghetti westerns, or other things like Quentin Tarantino films. It's just full of style, and in a marketplace where you really kind of have similar content to one another, this film, because of the world it sets up, really stands out apart from the rest of the Indian films. One of the most important things that a viewer will recognize is that this is 100% a film made by film lovers. Without a shadow of a doubt, the film drew inspiration from many different types of films, whether it's spaghetti westerns, Quentin Tarantino films. The movie itself is just full of style and references. The cinematography is beautiful. I mean, there's certain scenes that could literally steal from this movie and insert in any big budget Hollywood film, and you would not know the difference. Especially some of the cantina scenes early on in the movie, just the way it was lit. One of the most important things the cinematography did is it helped establish the world. Because of the lighting, because of the choices in camera angles, in the use of slow motion when necessary, and other stylized elements, the world gets established very early on. Not only does it establish the world that the characters inhabit, it allows the viewers to know the type of film that you'll be watching. Film has what I like to call old school sensibilities made for the modern age, similar to a Tarantino project. And that's not a bad comparison. The way specific action scenes were choreographed and shot were definitely engaging and kept my attention. Moving on to the bad, I'll continue right where I just left off talking about the action scenes. The impression that the trailer left me and many other people, this film was going to be an action adventure from beginning to end, self-referential, breaking the fourth wall, all of these different elements. And to be quite honest, you just don't get that in this movie. Not very many action scenes, and the ones that aren't exactly memorable. I remember the very first one, the introduction of the characters, as I already mentioned. I remember the finale, the actual climax, but not too much in between. At a movie that's 3 hours long, I expect to see more action. There's more action in the first 15 minutes of KGF than I feel like there was in the entire film for this movie. Speaking of KGF, I liked it better than this one. Now, I do want to say one thing. It's not a bad, it's not a good, or an ugly. I definitely missed a lot of references that the film was making, so maybe if I understood those better, my experience would have been better. I feel like that's not exactly the case because of the story elements, but please do fill me in on what I missed, specifically things that related to the more, what I perceived to be more religious aspects of the movie, especially the play at the end. These elements I'm just not familiar with as an American outsider, but I really would be happy to learn and just apply that to future films, and maybe I'll revisit this one day if I did miss something. So let me know in the comments. It's not just the lack of action scenes that was bothersome. It's just the extended dialogue scenes. I mean, not much happened in the movie. I was expecting an Indiana Jones type affair where we'd be going from place to place to place, finding this loot. And to be honest, I didn't get that. Instead, I got weak supporting characters, extremely weak female characters. Things just didn't add up or make sense. The story seems to forget the conflict that was set up in the first few minutes with the father and his two sons. The sons pretty much all but get forgotten until we get to the interval. And to me, that's a problem. Again, a movie that's 3 hours long, I just expected more story and more development along the way. And to be honest, what I got was a snooze fest. It was just outright boring. And as a result of this, it leads to an ending that ultimately is just not satisfying. It didn't leave me saying, wow, my character went through a journey. He earned this. This is fantastic. Instead, I was sort of confused. The movie just ends and I don't really feel anything. Now on to the ugly. Now I've already mentioned the length of the film, but that is one of the worst elements about this movie. I truly believe that there could have been a great film somewhere in this. You chop an hour off this film, which you could easily do, then as a result, these scenes that were so spread out become shortened and they happen quicker, and all of a sudden it feels like the story is moving on at a quicker and better pace. Because that's the other ugly thing about this movie. The pace is just horrendous. You have moments of pure excitement in the beginning, and then the film just takes a huge break and stops, and then you're with these characters talking which seems like forever, and then all of a sudden one more story element happens an hour later, and then that's what it feels like the formula of this film was. And like I said, maybe I missed things. What I think this film was a victim of is there was just too much passion involved. And that's not a bad thing. Passion is great. You should have as much passion in every single project that you make ever. But what I think happened here is, because the film took over 3 years to make, that when it came time to edit the film, the director and company did not want to, as we like to say in the film industry, kill his babies. There's certain moments in this movie that absolutely belonged on the cutting floor. And when you have so much passion, you love everything that you do, and that's okay. But if you forget about the audience that's watching your movie, and you're not creating the best experience for them, sometimes I wonder when that happens, I tend to believe that certain hard choices were just not made in the editing room, and I feel like that's what this is. I don't feel like there's a 4-hour version of this movie. I feel like you kind of saw everything that they wanted to make in this film, and maybe the director and company are proud of this, and if they are, that's fine. But me as an audience goer, I do have to say that because the movie was just so bloated and long, I ultimately was bored, and ultimately led me to just not enjoy my overall movie experience. And that's unfortunate, because the trailer was truly beautiful and fun and engaging and hilarious and action-packed, and just, I was on board. And to be honest with you, the moments in the trailer were the best moments in the film. And when that happens for a 3-hour movie, when your trailer's 4 minutes, which was extremely long, but it worked, and your film is 3 hours, and those are the best 4 minutes of the movie, it kind of makes me wonder what exactly should have been cut. That's all. And I know some people out there are not going to agree with me, and that's okay. That's why you let me know in the comments. I didn't hate what was going on. I appreciated the cinema. I appreciated the effort. I appreciated the acting. I just felt like the film could have been shorter and tighter, and as a result, it would have just led to a better and more positive experience. Sometimes length gets in the way, and this was a clear example of that. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this movie. I'd be definitely curious to continue the conversation in the comments, or if I really got things wrong, maybe potentially do a follow-up video about this and addressing your comments and concerns. As always, let me know in the comments. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. See you on the next one, and we'll see you later.